this still new century, America is not only going to return to the moon, but we're going to return there with new objectives. Because unlike a half century ago, this time, our objective will be to establish a permanent presence on the lunar surface, and from there we will develop the capabilities to journey to the red planet of Mars.
Hello my friends! So we are going to Mars? Nice! But they are saying this for 50 years already?
In order for us to take the next big leap toward the Martian surface, you all here know that we have to demonstrate that we can live on the moon for months and even years.
What? Demonstrate that we can live on the moon for months and even years? Are you serious? For the past 50 years you have been saying that it's impossible to go back to the moon?
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. You know, I'd love to go to the moon is what I would really love to do, but we'll see how that works out.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
I am really confused. How come suddenly they want to go back to the moon? Is it because of those stupid flat earthers? No one is watching the NASA channel anymore. It's about time you start to do some interesting stuff again. Look, I was watching this a few days ago.
1602. Okay, we're looking at it.
This was live on YouTube. It's a popular news channel with almost 1 million subscribers. 11 viewers for this live stream. Out of 1 million people, 11 people like to watch this stupid spacewalk. Or did we just lose a viewer? I'm pretty sad for NASA that only 10 people are watching this and one of them is a flat earther. I wonder what those astronauts are doing with all those cables. They are taping more cables to the space station. Why would you tape all your cables to the outside of your spaceship? It makes no sense. Did you ever see a car drive around with all the cables on the outside? You should put it inside so you have easy access to repair it when needed. Then you don't have to wear those ridiculous spacesuits, and you would save thousands of dollars on tape. So I watched this live stream for at least 2 hours, trying to figure out what those astronauts were doing. It looks like they don't do much. It takes them 5 minutes to put one piece of tape. That made me wonder about working in space. It must be the spacesuits that make it that difficult. NASA says that they are still using the spacesuits that they designed 40 years ago, because they are designed perfect, but I think it's time for better and cooler spacesuits. If we want to go live on the moon, we better have good suits. Therefore, I think it might be a good idea to do a fundraiser for NASA. Let's go over some of the most important issues with the spacesuits.
This is the Extravehicular Mobility Unit, or EMU as we call it, and it's the spacesuit that astronauts wear for spacewalks, either the space shuttle back in those days or the space station now.
And so this is in use, this is the design that's been used for decades.
Right, it's essentially unchanged for the past 40 years.
Now, we've seen what the spacesuit kind of looks like, in photos and videos, but we don't really know what goes underneath and how an astronaut actually puts on the suit. Can you show us the different components of a spacesuit and all the various different accessories that they put on?
Well, sure, this is really just the outer layer, and it starts with a few things that we have over here. Now, on this table, we have the components that go inside of the suit, starting with the diaper.
Underwear in space, but it's a diaper.
Right, and it's big enough for an adult, but it's the same purpose. And ideally, you're not going to have to use it, but in reality, you're going to be in that suit about 6 hours. So.
And this is only worn when you're going to wear a spacesuit.
Right, and
not when you're just floating around the ISS. Up to them.
Right, personal preference, I suppose. But when you got to go, you got to go.
That's wrong, NASA. You forgot about the second diaper. Don't you remember the astronauts almost drowning in space?
Yeah, that's right. The spacewalk had been underway for about 4 hours when Tim Copra reported water in his helmet. Now, this is potentially a serious situation because if you remember back in July 2013, an Italian astronaut, Luca Parmitano, had a major leak in his helmet. He, in fact, almost drowned before he got back inside the space station. This is not nearly as serious as that, but in the wake of that incident, NASA put some flight rules in place that said anytime water gets in a helmet, you cut off the spacewalk and get back to the airlock. That's what they're doing. Copra doesn't have nearly that much water in his helmet, but they're not taking any chances with this. The rest of it. But it is going to raise questions about what they need to do to fix this issue going forward. They spent enormous time trying to get these spacesuits ready in the wake of that 2013 problem. Had several spacewalks since then that all went well, but with the resumption of any kind of a leak in the helmet, that's going to cause a lot of head scratching, and they're going to have to do some serious troubleshooting.
A dangerous water leak in an International Space Station's astronaut's helmet turned out to be a faulty diaper payload, according to a NASA statement tonight. NASA develops MacGyver snorkel for astronauts. Yeah, they tried to explain and fix this in many ways. There was also an article from NASA saying that they would use diapers in the helmets, but it seems like the article is gone. I can't find it anymore. It's so funny. If you go to space, the most likely way of dying is drowning in your spacesuit.
Now, I thought one of the solutions that NASA came up with was really clever. The idea of, well, we need to put something that absorbs water on the back of your head. Hey, let's use a diaper. I thought that's a clever solution to this problem.
A clever solution? This is even more ridiculous than my accent. Don't try to be clever and design a new suit. Why are you doing it the same way for 40 years? Is it the budget again?
I made boxing gloves before I came here, and the fact is I was an experienced sewer, but I had to learn all over again because it was completely different from what I had sewed before. This was getting right down to a 64th of an inch, and where I had sewed before, you just sewed on a production line. And this here is quality more than quantity.
Like, we always think our job is the hardest. Whatever we're doing, we got the hardest job. But when they say, well, go there and maybe do so-and-so, well, you'll find out that job is harder than yours. And then a lot of times we're sewing or making things, and maybe the girl next to you, she's doing the same thing, but we never see the suit put together. One don't know where this part goes, or the other one don't know where the other part goes. Like the gloves. If they would give you a glove to sew, you wouldn't know where to start.
Well, when they're up there in space, you know what parts you've worked on, and you just say, well, I hope that part don't fail because I'd feel it was my fault if it did.
My sentiment is what Hazel said. Well, I was just wondering if my pair of gloves was what he had on.
If you make a mistake, if you don't admit it, you have to think about the astronaut too. If you make like a needle hole in the bladder or something like that, well, if you don't admit that, that would be on your conscience all the time, seems to me. Because I remember Armstrong and all them used to come in, and they would look around and see what we were doing. And once in a while they'd talk to us and sign we'd get them to sign their autograph. Some of them were real comical. We got a kick out of them. We all wanted to talk to them, I guess. I remember one of them going down the aisle, everybody looked at him, afraid to talk. I said, hi, buddy.
Oh, I'd love to go into space. I think it would be really thrilling just to get in there and just blast off.
I'd love to go to space and just live there.
Every day you get up, you come to work, you go home, you clean house. If we go out there, there's no house, no kids, no problems. I like to ride in an airplane, and I think I'd like to go into space. And I'd like to wear our own suit that we make. I think I could depend on it.
After body electrodes have been attached to monitor heartbeat and breathing, the first items of clothing are the water-cooled underwear and a urine collector. A spacesuit is basically a sealed bag of atmosphere, a stiffened balloon, pumped up to counteract the vacuum of space. It might be called a one-man spaceship of the smallest possible dimensions. The pressure suit has to guard against extreme temperatures, hard radiation from the sun, and tiny meteorites. Yet, it must have the flexibility to allow man to function as he would in his natural Earth environment.
Niyati Modi is a NASA intern, not a seasoned spacesuit expert. So to help tell her story, we hired NASA suit test engineer Lindsay Atchison.
I've been preparing all my life for this moment to work for NASA, everything from attending both a technical high school and a prestigious college to major in mechanical engineering.
The thermal micrometeoroid garment is the outermost layer of a spacesuit, and it's designed to protect our astronauts in extreme environments.
I was surrounded by people whose entire career was passionately focused on spaceflight. Working for NASA was a dream come true.
Each layer is designed with specific functionality in mind and contributes to the overall protection of the astronauts.
It's truly amazing to work for a system that will be used in outer space. I can't wait to return to school and share how important space exploration truly is.
Ensuring a safe spacewalk, or EVA, is the highlight of our job.
NASA. Real science. Real people.
Please go work for NASA. They really need more smart people in their team. They get no viewers and have bad solutions to bad problems. They are desperate, it's getting out of control for them. Here is a video from one of their scientists.
I am Dr. Wilhelm Schleyer. You should know who I am. You flat earthers have been causing a lot of trouble. I spent all day preparing a piece. It's so bad I have to work for food from nada. You see that? I'm doing freelance artwork. Look at this. I take pictures of our globe all day long. Little miniature pictures. I am a scientist. I have better things to do with my time than that.
Coming up, it may look like I'm walking through a morgue, but housed in this facility are some of NASA's greatest artifacts. That story coming up next on CTV News. Walking into this environmental storage unit is like taking a step back in time. Located at the Smithsonian's Paul E. Garber facility is a little-known treasure that eerily resembles a morgue. It's the place that every known NASA spacesuit is housed. Each outfit is carefully preserved in a temperature and humidity-controlled unit. It's then stuffed with a mannequin to preserve its shape, giving the appearance that a real body still lies within the spacesuit.
We're storing them under these conditions because we found that a lower temperature, lower humidity keeps them stable. Because even though the spacesuits were built to withstand the rigors of spaceflight, they weren't built to withstand the conditions here on Earth. High humidity, high temperature, and the materials that they used are not very long lasting.
I agree. These high temperatures here on Earth are insane. Global warming is destroying all our spacesuits here on Earth. In space there is no global warming. But what I don't understand is why you would keep all your old spacesuits in a big fridge. They are making the same suits for 50 years and store them all in one place so no one can see them. Why not give some of them to universities or companies so we can study them and come up with better designs? Or are you planning to keep filling more buildings with old spacesuits? 50 years ago, everyone was excited about going to space. It made people dream and made them believe their future would be in space. These days, we need companies like SpaceX to shoot cars into space to make people watch the live stream. NASA made a lot of fake promises, and the same goes for every other space agency. I think after 50 years, most people know this and gave up on their space dreams. It's the same old story repeating over and over again. We found stuff on Mars, or we will make a base on the moon. We found water on whatever planet. You can't keep saying things like that without doing new stuff. We have a space station orbiting Earth since 1973. We replaced it one time. There are no videos of us building it, but we made 200 videos of an astronaut doing a backflip. Come on, NASA. I think they start to understand this, and they try to make the people more interested in space again. But whatever stuff they do, most people will not care, because now they understand that they will never go to space, and that it will not change their future in any way. And even if you will fake a new mission on the moon or on Mars, it's the same old story. Your 50-year-old promise will not work anymore. But I still like you, NASA, and I will keep watching all your videos.
No one watches the Nada channel anymore. They haven't paid their art bill this year even. We must get our shit together. There are at least 24 kittens. I am gonna personally take those to Brussels, and I will get this geoshifter. They are cute cats. I know he will fall for this. Everybody must do their part.